So we're leaving the rock cut behind. Don't mind me while I glove my glove on here. Trying to use my teeth to pull it on. We got to be getting close to the last lake here in this section, and then we're onto the English River. It's got to be close. We're 30.74 kilometers. I'm tired. Time is it? 12:41, so it's really 1:41. So we've been going for like 5 hours. Okay, let's pause here momentarily. You can see that we got another one of those concrete rail holders. So we're going to take a look at that and then resume. Okay, so again, we have one of our very rare rail holders. The one out here, as you can see, it's kind of missing the top part where there was a metal plate on there, but you can see the rest of it. It looks like it's in pretty good shape. You can see that very triangular pattern to it. So again, these were placed, again, I don't know who did them. Grand Trunk Pacific, Canadian Government, CN. These were placed about every mile on the line. And essentially rails were placed upon them, or spotted upon them. And you kind of see that sometimes with modern railways today, where they do something very, very similar. I've seen some on the CPKC. Just trying to see if there's the matching pair here, but I don't see anything. There's a really good surviving example by Dog River Junction or Dog River Station. I don't see the matching pair, unless, I don't know, because they're not that far apart. Okay, so let's obviously it's missing. Let's jump back on the grade here and resume our journey. Okay, so I'm pretty sure we finally have arrived at the last lake here. So I don't know where the names for these lakes come up. You can see what they've done here is yet another causeway. So they've filled in part of this lake. Again, I don't know where the names for the lakes come from, but this has got to be one of the more unusual ones I've seen. Obviously, a lot of times they're named after people, or they have some sort of indigenous name. This is Jiu Jitsu Lake. No idea where that name would have come from, right? Just a very random name for this lake, right? Jiu Jitsu Lake. Maybe what I'll do is I'll show you the map so you can see that I'm not lying. It is in fact Jiu Jitsu Lake. And we're wide open here beside Jiu Jitsu Lake, and it is freaking cold. Wow. That wind is strong, as you can hear probably in the camera, and it is cold. Wow. And it's like I'm slowed down to a crawl here. That headwind is brutal. Okay, we're into the trees here. Again, you can see beautiful section here, very sandy, lots of jack pines. Oh. Wow. Jiu Jitsu Lake. I remember when I first saw that on the map, I'm like, what? So here again, you can see evidence that they dug ballast, most likely very early on. So this line was completed in 1908, but then there was a bunch of upgrades that were done over the years. So there were some upgrades done around 1910, and then there was another batch of big upgrades that were done when the Canadian Government Railways took over. So like closer to Thunder Bay, there's some culverts, some concrete culverts that are 1917, and then there was a bunch of concrete work that was done by the Carter Halls Aldinger Company of Winnipeg, and we're actually going to see one of the bridges that they did further up. It's on the other side of Yanaka Station, and that one has been rebuilt, but that was part of that original 1918 revitalization of the line, because the line was, you know, the document that it comes with it from Library and Archive of Canada said the grade was in really rough shape. So you can imagine 1918, the line's been operating for 10 years. A lot of the trestles and stuff are original and they're falling apart, and so the document talks about how there's like 60 trestles that need to be rebuilt, right? So that's just a huge undertaking. And so what they decide to do is they actually decide to instead of rebuilding them out of wood, they decide to build some things out of concrete. Okay, so again, going through this cutting area, you can see a little bit harder to see here with the sun, but you can see that how they've dug ballast, especially out of here on the west side. Yeah, we're still running north here. You can see it's pretty tall cut. Yeah, it's really cleared up now. At least we got most of the hike in and shade and cloud. $31. We gotta be getting close here. I am very tired. Okay, let's you can see we got a nice straight stretch here. Let's zip you ahead a bit. Okay, we're still trucking along here, kind of going through a bit of a swampier area here. I'm starting to cramp up a little bit. I don't know if I'm dehydrated. That headwind is not helping. And then a 60-pound dog in the trailer is the cherry on the top. So some more telegraph poles here. You can see one here. There's one up here. See, now with the sun out, it's hard to see my GPS. I bought a new camera over the summer. Tried it out a little bit here and there, but last week was the first time that I used it on one of these hikes, and it actually turned out pretty good. So it's a GoPro 12. I didn't jump up to the 13 because 13 has a different battery, and so I already have two other GoPros. I have a 9 and 11, and so I figured that way I could keep using the same batteries. The 12 records in HDR, so high dynamic range. So it really helps even things out when you get these light and dark areas. And you know what, the last week was really sunny and bright, and I was kind of a little frustrated shooting the video, and it actually didn't turn out too bad. So hopefully that is helping to even out the video a little bit. Just the so HDR, what it does is it basically creates a composite image. It basically essentially shoots 3 different exposure videos and combines them into one. So it tries to eliminate the highs and the lows and tries to even things out. Just the only thing when it does that is the bit rate is higher, so the video files are much bigger. 32.3 kilometers, something like that. Another telegraph pole. Okay, we're gonna hold up here for a second, and then we gotta be getting close to the English River, and then to our destination just on the other side of Squedunk Creek. Completely cleared up now, bright sunshine. So the battery's getting low. Hopefully we can finish this hike without having to swap the batteries. Somebody fishing or something? Looks like there's something parked off to the side of the grade there. You know, we're supposed to be, it's kind of funny, east of Graham is George Station. What did I mark here? Oh, telegraph pole. I was like, what am I looking at? East of Graham is George Station, and that's the height of land. So that's the highest point, and that's the watershed. And so you climb from Lake Superior, you climb from basically 600 feet to 1,670 feet, so 1,000 feet up, and then you work your way back down again a bit. So we're supposed to be kind of on a downward here, but in lots of places it feels like we're climbing. This camera down, I'm getting a glare from it. Parked off to the side of the grade. Going through a little cut here. Somebody out fishing or duck hunting. I did notice at one point there was long time no see. Yeah. Same people I've passed several times already. Oh God, that wind is terrible. Okay, so I forgot to point it out, but through the trees you can see a body of water. So what we've done is we've come alongside the mighty English River. The English is the biggest river system in the area. Kind of very interesting because it's got this really unique route. It basically rolls north, right, from south of the main highway, comes north, and then kind of turns. We're going to cross it. So Ava Lake, when we cross that big bridge, that'll be Sunday's hike, if the weather cooperates. That's part of the English River system. Then it kind of goes west for a while, then it turns south again, and like it just all over the place. But it is a huge, huge river. You'll in tomorrow's videos we'll see it a lot better. We come right alongside the river. There's a spot here, but tomorrow we're like up beside it for quite a while. Okay, so feels like we're playing tag here. They've zoomed past me again. So here you can, it opens up a little bit. You can see the river quite well. You can see how wide it is, how big it is. Again, just a huge body of water. Bottom part of a telegraph pole. You can see this area here is normally all flooded, but with the dry conditions, lots of rocks sticking out. You see lots of the mud. How far are we from Squedunk? We gotta be. trying to see how far away we are. I think it's still 1.5 kilometers. Wow. Okay. Let's zip you ahead a bit here. All right, I think we're going to need to hold up. I think we might need to do a battery change. I was hoping that we would be able to reach the end, but I don't want to have it die on me. Okay, so let's hold it up here, and then hopefully this will be the last stretch.